Fall in Polk County, this is today's veteran. I'm Chris Drummond with the Polk County Veteran Service Office, and welcome to today's veteran. Some of you may remember this program from its first run several years back. Some of the faces have changed, but our mission has not. This program is intended to serve the veteran population of Polk County, their dependents, and anyone simply interested in keeping up on veterans affairs. It's our mission here at Today's Veteran to provide an open forum for local veterans to find the most up-to-date information on claims, health care, education benefits, legislation affecting the veteran community, and local veteran special interest story. As this is the first episode of the new Today's Veteran, we're going to take this opportunity to introduce to you your Veteran Service Office, talk a little bit about its function, and let you meet our staff. We also want you to become familiar with the program format and what to expect from each monthly installment. Once again, welcome, veterans. We open each episode of Today's Veteran with the Sit Rep. The Sit Rep is a segment intended to highlight current news and events within the local and national veterans communities. If it affects veterans and their benefits, you'll find it here in the Sit Rep. I'd like to take this chance to tell you a little bit about the Polk County Veteran Service Office and what we do for the local veteran community. The Polk County Veteran Service Office was established over 30 years ago under Florida state statute. The primary function of our office is and always will be to help veterans. Primarily, we assist veterans in the claims process. This includes claims for disability, pension, burial, and survivor's benefits. We also conduct community outreach events in the hope of educating veterans to the benefits currently available to them. Now, many of the medical, social, and financial issues that veterans face are indeed unique to the veteran community. This being said, we also recognize that not every issue a veteran has is necessarily a veteran's issue. It's in cases such as these that we act more as a guide to veterans in need and steer them to someone with the answers they're seeking. We're located in the county's Human Services Building in Bartow and are available from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. For more information about our office, please visit our website at polk-county.net/social-SVC. Be prepared to copy, as more information will follow each month from the Sit Rep. Each episode of Today's Veteran will showcase a specific theme or topic relative to the veteran community. Today, now that you know what the Polk County Veteran Service Office does, why not find out how we do it? On your feet, Polk County. These are your Veteran Service Officers.
Hello, this is Today's Veteran, and I'm your host, Mike Mason, and today we're going to introduce you to our Polk County Veteran Service Officers. This team assists our veterans and their veteran families with filing VA claims. Today you get to meet these gentlemen and learn a little bit about them. We have Ernie Roberts, Chris Drummond, and Ed Wright with us in the studio today. But before we get to their backgrounds, let me tell you a little bit more about myself. My name is Mike Mason. I've been married to my wife Darla for 21 years and looking forward to the next 21. We've got a daughter, Danica, and 2 grandchildren. And basically, I grew up in Illinois. My father was a general contractor, and so I grew up building houses. Joined the Army and was sent to Fort Campbell, Kentucky, where we got off of our bus, and this thing I'll never forget. It was one of the moments that kind of sticks out in your mind is we're all lined up there. We've got long hair, carrying our little suitcase, and we're all standing in formation, and I'm in the front row here, right about in the center, and there's a whole staff of drill sergeants up there, and they've all got their game face on. They're all snarling and growling, and they started one by one coming down and getting nose to nose with us and screaming at us. You know, I kind of got what they were trying to say, but I didn't really understand all the words that were coming out of their mouth. But one thing was I kept hearing a thud behind me. And, you know, I wasn't about to turn around. These guys would be all over you. So I'm just standing here at attention. I'm trying to see, but I hear another one and another one. finally, you know, they're done indoctrinating us. They've screamed at us till they couldn't scream anymore, and we're doing a right face and getting in line to get back on the bus. And I see about 5 guys laying there on the ground. And I was like, what happened to these guys? And they said, yeah, the drill sergeant got in their face and started screaming at them. They passed out. I said, ugh. Well, the rumor was they took these guys and put them down took them over to the Marine recruiters. I don't know if that's a rumor or not. I can't confirm or deny that, but that's the rumor that was going around the barracks anyhow. They all took them over to the Marines. I think several of those guys are at the American Legion in Winter Haven right now, but I'll have to check on that. And today we've got our veteran service officers here. Ernie, you've had quite an illustrious career. Would you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you did in the service? Something about your family, your beautiful wife, Debbie?
I'm probably the example of what not to do. High school dropout, joined the Navy at a ripe old age, spent 22 years in the Navy, was selected as one of 1,700 Navy veterans to be, or Navy crew members to be a crew member on the battleship New Jersey, and took it to Vietnam in 1969. Finished up my career in '87, wound up with a bachelor's degree and a retirement check and a skilled trade. So I don't think I did too bad.
No. And what about your family? What brought you back to Bartow?
My wife was born and raised here in Bartow, so I followed her back home.
Okay. And next we have Mr. Chris Drummond.
Indeed you do.
And Chris, go ahead. Let's hear a little bit about yourself.
I spent about 8.5 years in the U.S. Army. I am an alum of the infantry, so if you need anything broken, I'm your guy to come to.
Okay.
We're pretty good at that.
You're originally from Lakeland, right? Or
I moved to Lakeland when I was 15 from New Jersey. I was born and raised up in the north. I moved around the north a little bit. My dad was in construction, so we moved around the tri-state area, New Jersey, New York, Pennsylvania, Connecticut. But I joined the Army right out of high school. Like everyone else, I joined to see the world, and the only parts of the world I got to see were the parts we invaded.
okay.
So.
And what else? Got a little something about your family? Any new additions or anything?
I do. I have a 5.5-month-old daughter. Her name is Cora. My wife and I welcomed her back in December, and she's a firecracker. She really is.
Okay. Mr. Ed Wright, tell us a little bit about yourself, Ed. I know you're Air Force veteran, so give us a little something.
Okay, Mike, I was born in St. Joseph's Hospital in Tampa. Moved to Brandon and spent the rest of my younger years there. Immediately after high school, I joined the Air Force because I always had a love for aircraft.
Uh-huh.
So the Air Force trained me to be an aircraft mechanic. I served 2 6-month TDYs in Thailand. Then they were gracious enough to send me back for another 12-month PCS tour back to Thailand.
Uh-huh.
Remained in the Air Force for 20 years and 11 days, retired, came back home to Florida. Brandon was too crowded when I got back, so I decided to move to Lakeland. And here is where I started, became a Polk County Veteran Service Officer.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm married to Lisa, my wife, and hopefully we'll live happily ever after.
All right. Ernie, I'm sure with all your time in the Navy, you got at least one story that kind of sticks out in your mind, right?
Well, there's several, but probably
Well,
most of them.
Let's keep it to the ones you can talk about, okay?
Most of them we can't talk about.
Okay.
I was a company commander or drill sergeant for 8 of those 22 years, so there were several stories with the recruits that they came in not knowing what they were expecting and got a rude awakening at 4 o'clock in the morning when I threw a trash can down the middle of the barracks and told them all to get their backsides up out of bed, and we started our training. So that's probably about the most that I can say about that.
And I'll bet you had a big old smile on your face every time you threw that trash can, right?
No, I had to act grumpy.
Christopher, what about you?
I'm kind of in a similar situation where what we might find amusing, others may not. So rather than something funny, I'll share with you a story about something that I got to do that was unique. You know, we have hundreds of thousands of service members coming back that are veterans of the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan and other places around the Middle East and the Philippines. There's been quite a bit of action here over the last 12 years, but I was lucky enough to be part of a special operations task force down in South America, primarily Colombia and Panama, that did counter-narcotic work and counter-guerrilla training with the Colombian Special Forces and their version of the DEA. So again, it was unique. I got to see how our nation works with host nation forces and other government agencies. We work together towards a common goal and trying to stop the drug trafficking from Central and South America up into the United States.
Mm-hmm. All right. Edward, talk to me. Got anything that kind of sticks out in your mind about all your time in Thailand and overseas?
Well, I do have something that is kind of unique, stands out in my mind, and I don't know how many people can lay claim to this, but I was actually hit by lightning on the flight line and survived.
Well, that explains a lot of things that are going on today. Right.
Yeah. I was stationed at Homestead Air Force Base, and you know, the typical afternoon, summertime, tropical rainstorms that blows through. Well, the maintenance expediter vehicle got word from Job Control that we had a cell coming through. And the word was there was high winds involved with it, and to clear everything off of the flight line that's loose. Mm-hmm. And being the A-flight flight chief, I was going down the line to make sure that everything was, all the hatches were battened down and no loose objects remaining on the flight line. And the expediter vehicle and some of the tow vehicles and other vehicle operators were moving the equipment off. And I was ensuring that the aircraft maintenance records were stowed away where they wouldn't blow away or get wet. Yeah. And that's located up in the nose wheel well above the nose strut on the F4 Phantom. And the vehicle started going in. I told the expediter vehicle to wait for me, let me make sure that these records, the aircraft records, are stowed. And I'm up in the nose wheel well, doing my job, getting those things stowed up in there. And when I came out, I saw the expediter vehicle driving off. So I figured, well, he's got a load of people in there, and he's going to take them on up to the flight shack and drop them off and come back after me. Well, they never came back. By that time, the storm was at the end of the runway, moving towards us. And as the winds were beginning to blow, the rain started raining sideways, and I'm waiting for the vehicle. And as I say, it never showed up, so I moved back to the main wheel well area on the leeward side of the storm. And the rain was so heavy, and the parking ramp is built on a slope. Yeah. So the water flows off. And I was underneath the aircraft, and the water was flowing over the top of my boots. It was coming down so hard. So I pulled a pair of wooden chocks out from the left main wheel tire and was standing on that because the lightning was hitting all around. And I was afraid it was going to hit the water and electrocute me. So I was standing on those wooden chocks. But the thing is, I was also holding on to the uplock actuator underneath the wheel well, looking out. And I just finished saying to myself, well, I probably got a 50-50 chance of getting hit by lightning. So help me goodness. No sooner had I said that, I saw, and it was just a split second, I saw where my hands were above, hanging on the actuator, I saw sparks, and that was it.
You were out.
I was out. I felt an excruciating, spontaneous pain, and then I was out. When I woke up, it was gone. It was dead calm. And around the air, actually the lightning hit the aircraft. And when I woke up, I could see these little streamers all around the aircraft. And somebody, when I mentioned it, somebody later, they said it's ozone. So, from the lightning. Mm-hmm. Well, whatever it was, thank goodness it didn't kill me. The security police that patrols the flight line area actually picked me up and took me back up there. And
so here you are today, and we're glad you're here. All right. Well, listen, I'd like to thank you today. I'd like to thank our veteran service officers. I want to thank them for being here and for what they do to assist our veterans and veteran families in Polk County. So guys, thanks from everybody. All right, and that's it for today's show, and we'll see you next time.
Each month here at Today's Veteran, we like to give the opportunity to a member of the local veteran community to share their story in a section we call War Stories. Here, veterans get a chance to tell about their background in the service and stories about their time in uniform.
I was a Vietnam veteran, served at 1967, 68. I was with the 101st Airborne, 3rd Division, 187th Infantry, Rakkasans, which are famous in history. I received on March 12th, an enemy grenade went off and blew my forehead. I have a traumatic brain injury from it. We were a reactionary force. We traveled all over Vietnam. It's caused me to have very severe PTSD. And again, there's not much to say. I've always felt that the Vietnam veterans got a bad rap. At one point, we were called baby killers when we came back. The truth is, at one time we were on the mountainside, and our Company A, I was in Company C. Our Company A was down in the valley in the village, and the Viet Cong put the children and the women in front of as shields for them. So our troops didn't fire, and because of that, they were tortured all night, very severely. So the idea of we were baby killers was not true at all. And I'm sorry to hear that we're given that kind of reputation by the public because of maybe one incident. And it goes for the same thing that's happening now, that these young men are over there fighting, and because of one bad thing, the news publicizes it, and it's so unfair because there's so many good things going on with our Iraq and Afghan troops. With the Department of Florida adjutant. I'm also, last year was with the Military Order Purple Heart as an inspector, so I got to travel all over Florida. And that was a fun job because I met all 28 chapters in our state. Our state is very big. And I'm also commander of AMVETS Chapter Post 36 over in Azalea Park, off Grasslands in Lakeland. I'm also starting another one over Post 24 over in Winter Haven for the AMVETS. So I do a lot for the community also. And I'm with the Catholic War Veterans. And I do a lot, but I like dealing with veterans. I don't particularly like dealing with the public because of my issues, but I enjoy very much helping veterans the best I can.
My name is Gary Cottrell, and I served in the military in the United States Army from 1973, actually January of 1973, until September of 1998. My time in service actually started right here in Bartow, Florida. I caught a bus out of here in early January where the old Bartow Ford used to be, and was left home and went to Jacksonville to enter the service, and did my basic training in Fort Knox, Kentucky, and went from there to Fort Sill, Oklahoma for advanced individual training for artillery. I'm a 13 Bravo, and then I was held over after the AIT, and then I was sent down to Fort Bliss, Texas. I went through Red Eye Gunner training down there for shoulder-fired missiles before I went to my first permanent party station, which was in Germany. I went to Germany and stayed over in Germany for about 4 years, and then left Germany and decided I was going to get out of the service for a while. I got out and I realized that I enjoyed the military very much. So I re-entered the service and basically in 1978, and then went to assigned to Fort Carson, Colorado with the 4th Infantry Division, and really enjoyed being assigned there in Colorado. Then I went over, applied to go back overseas to Germany, and I was with the 2nd Armored Division forward up in northern Germany, completed that assignment, and then came back to 4th Infantry Division again for quite some time, and then I went into what was called the Equal Opportunity Field for the military. So I was trained by the Department of Defense for Equal Opportunity Management. And then I was assigned to the 25th Infantry Division in Hawaii and back to the 101st in Fort Campbell, Kentucky. And I decided I would like to go into the airborne. So I went to the jump school at 36 years of age, and then went on to be assigned with the 82nd Airborne Division in Fort Campbell, Kentucky. There I obtained the rank of Command Sergeant Major, and I was reassigned from Fort Campbell, Kentucky. I'm sorry, from Fort Bragg, North Carolina. I was assigned to Fort Campbell, Kentucky, and served 2 years as a Battalion Command Sergeant Major, and I retired and decided to come home.
My name is Frank Cisco. I'm the first vice at the AMVETS in Lakeland, Florida. My military service began in 1954. I went to airborne training at Fort Bragg, North Carolina, served 2 years at Fort Bragg. Got out of the service, went back in 58, went to the 101st Airborne, served 4 years with the 101st. And then I decided to give up the airborne and become an office personnel. So I worked in data processing until I got out of the Army, and that's just about my whole military career right there. AMVETS is an organization which takes in people like me who did not get into the wars and who did not serve during the time of a war, although I did. We just accept veterans that are honorably discharged.
Well, thank you for joining me here on the inaugural run of Today's Veteran. I'm Chris Drummond, and remember, when that ramp drops, keep your head low, and I'll see you on the beaches.